with you and yours. What's good? What's good? What's good? So there was a question asked a little while ago, and it was just a little bit too political, and so I removed it. I know the person didn't mean for it to be political, but it sounded political. The market took a dump, right? There is a feud going on right now. Rick Ritchie, thank you for letting me know that you invested in yourself. Rick Ritchie, I'll get to you in a moment. Captain Banana, thank you for letting me know you invested in yourself. Rick Ritchie, also, thank you for letting me know and you invested in yourself. And I did not ask tonight's question. Let me see here. Oh boy. This is going to be a good one. Do you agree with Tether's financial this one's a good one. All right. So tonight's question is, do you agree with Tether's financial viability assessment of Circle? Yes, no, what happened, and other. If you believe in other, put it down here, and we'll get to it in a little while. Now, D. Bluey, what's going on? What's good? Thank you for letting me know you invested in yourself. Circle blew the heck up. At one point, it was up 245%. And I think it might have ended at 239. So just saying, it did something. I think it's because it had a lot of pent up energy. I think we're going to wind up seeing a pullback. There's a lot to it. So we'll have that conversation a little bit later because I think there's a lot to unpack there. Getting back to Max Salas. The market went down for a number of reasons. A lot of news is coming out. There's the feud that's going on, all that good stuff. You have just a lot of negative things that are compiling or aggregating to create a negative feel in the market, even though we just had all this, bounty because of Circle. A wasted opportunity. However, it gave us another opportunity, or gave me another opportunity. Yes, because Bitcoin's at 101 and change, and at 101 and change, that's a drop of 10% from where it was, or give or take, 8 point something percent, 9 point something percent. It's an opportunity to me. To me, it's an opportunity. You had a lot of money leave to go over to Circle to see if they can get in on that. A lot of money is going to wind up leaving that. Why? Because it went up so much. Tons of people are going to wind up taking at least some of their profit. Because think about it: if you were able to get in at the buy price, right, or at the launch price of $31, and it went up 200%, at the very least, you take back your money and 10%. No. So you get back your initial investment plus 10% to show that you won something, and you leave the rest in there to see how it plays out. And then if it plays out, it goes all the way up to 245. Why not dump the rest? Because it's going to come down, right? It did from 245 to 239, and then it's going to come down again, in my humble opinion, at some point, because at this point, I think it's overbought. Now, we'll get into this a little bit later, but that's my thought process for right now. But we will get into that a little bit later. But let's get back to World Liberty Financial. I know I didn't bring it up the first time, but I'm bringing it up now because it's tied to a few things. World Liberty Financial issued a cease and desist to the people that started the Trump wallet, because that says possibly that they didn't have permission, or it was just a stunt. Floated the bubble. Rick Ritchie, you ought to catch that. Floated the bubble, right? But it didn't work out well. So this is their way of pulling it back without making it seem like it's their fault. See what I'm saying? And no, that's not iced tea. That is a big boy drink. I have the air on in my house because it was like almost 90 degrees today. And my office, since it sits so low in the house, it's an ice box. So that's right. Eddie's keeping warm. But Hong Kong plans to launch a virtual asset derivative space for traders. Okay? Well, let me rephrase. For professionals. What they're looking to do is capture at least a chunk of what's supposed to be a $37 trillion crypto market in the future. And how are they going to do it? Well, they're going to offer, obviously, tax incentives and something else that I have never seen before. Maybe it's out there, but I've never seen it at this level. They're saying they're going to offer licensed staking. Wow. Could just be me, but it sounds like wow. So yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm saying that's going to be a big move. I told you that there are certain pockets around the world that are poised to be major crypto hubs. Hong Kong is one of them. Mind you, Hong Kong is China. We call it Hong Kong, but it is China. Just saying, like properly China. So I am paying attention to that because what happens around the world can affect here, and what happens here can affect the rest of the world. So there's that. What else do we have? Uber is exploring. This is big. Uber is exploring using stablecoins to reduce global payment fees. Remember when I told you that all we need is one retailer, one major retailer to hop on? Uber counts as a retailer. I'm telling you now, you're going to have a lot of other businesses stop and think about it and go, well, they're talking about stable coins. If we were worried about the exchange rate for crypto, well, these are stable coins. So we'd still get our money for sure. We'd be able to count against it, all that other good stuff. But makes you stop and scratch your head. That could be a bigger deal than what people think. It could be a far bigger deal than what people think. Spend Cookie, what's good, girlfriend? Haven't seen you in a minute. So yeah, I'm looking at that and I'm kind of saying to myself, holy to the wow. It makes sense, does it not? It makes big sense. It enables them to maneuver money from around the world. And what does that do for you? Well, they'll have to figure out taxes, right? For each state that they operate in. State meaning country. So that's going to have to be figured out. But imagine fees and all that. That could move money. That could move other businesses to hop on board. It's a very big deal. It's a bigger deal than what most people think. Something else that could wind up being a big deal. Coinbase launched wrapped XRP and wrapped Dogecoin on Base. I'd like to know how they came up to that decision, but that's kind of a big deal. Imagine being able to move Doge and XRP on Base. Remember the other night we were talking about interoperability, but we were talking about interoperability for Ethereum and Cardano. And here's Base doing the same thing, doing the wrap version. Cardano is doing the right version. They're not I don't think they're wrapping jack. Telling you, things are changing in the space. And this is honestly why I think meme coins are going to die a gruesome death. I know it sounds horrible to say it like that, but facts, right? I literally just see it as facts. Because when I look at it as, well, what do you do with meme coins? Nothing. You do nothing with meme coins. That's what you do with meme coins. Meanwhile, you have interoperability going on. You have real commerce going on, settlements, RWA, tokenization. You have just a ton of things going on that make you stop and say to yourself, well, real business is happening. That's key. Ain't nobody got no time for that. I'm trying to grow my bag, right? Ultimately, that's my goal. Base is not wrapping the actual crypto. Cardano is the same Bitcoin going out as going in. No, they said they're wrapping. I might have to do a little bit more research, but the research that I showed said that they're offering wrapped XRP and wrapped Doge. So if you've got better info, greatly appreciated. Thank you. Either way, I'm still thinking those are real uses. There are different ways to do it, right? There are different ways, technically speaking, there are different ways to do it. The fact that it's being done is the big deal. That to me is the big deal. Whether it's a wrapped token or a native token, don't care. I mean, I kind of care for personal reasons, but don't care from a broader interoperability perspective. That to me is huge. That's a big move by Base. Remember, they don't make money on Base. It doesn't have a coin. So just saying, these are things that I pay attention to because I'm kind of like, I think memes started to die when AI agents came out. No. AI agents were here for a minute. I think for a minute, AI agents were propelling because we're the bots. Same kind of thing. So I'm thinking that they're just going to die because they lack usefulness. They lack true use cases. I think that's the reason why they're going to die. That's why. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just offering a different opinion. Because that's a mad valid point, right? They are wrapping it like PaxG, have a 1-to-1 reserve to make those smart contracts. Yeah, I'm not worried about the technical stuff. I'm not worried about getting down that low, honestly. I'm just saying that I prefer how Cardano's doing it because Cardano's saying, I'm not just going to do one or two. The idea is they want to be a layer. They want to be a platform for interoperability. That's a use case that needs to be real. They're making it real, Cardano is, and that has long-term, positive upswing to it. Hence, I like the way Cardano's doing it versus how others are doing it. But down to the nitty-gritty, I'm not worried about that right now. Most people don't have to worry about the nitty-gritty, technical stuff. I don't get down that far sometimes. Very rare. If it's a private, conversation, we could go deeper. But for the broader spectrum of people, that's not what's going to matter. What's going to matter is having the interoperability. I think that's the big deal. I think it does matter as you cross that Rubicon and you say, oh, there's interoperability. Once you fathom that and you want to learn more about it, that's when getting down a couple of more layers is going to make a difference to you, because it's going to make a difference to how you do your own research, and especially knowing your entries, knowing your exits, because that will enable you to absolutely invest deliberately. So yeah, it's kind of like a graduation kind of thing. You're gonna gain some knowledge. You're gonna get used to that knowledge. You're gonna seek out more knowledge. You're gonna get used to that knowledge, so on and so forth. And that's how I kind of see interoperability. When it really hits home what you can do with interoperability, I think that's what's gonna drop jaws. And then you've also got to go to another level and say to yourself, well, then what coins are actually worthy of that interoperability? You see, what coins are worthy of that interoperability? Some coins is kind of like, you're going to go away anyway. So how do you make that decision? Like, how do you play that game? They have USHIB too. I don't know what that is. Sorry. Some kind of idea with SHIB. USHIB? Is it a different coin? I'm at a loss. But yeah, you think about stuff like that and you're kind of like, oh, wrapped on base. Okay. And they call it USHIB? That's... I'm just saying. It's an odd ticker for it. But still, I kind of... Maybe it wasn't available? Yeah, that could be it. So yeah, I think about that kind of stuff. Then you've got Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I apologize for mispronouncing it if I am. Opposed a proposed decade-long AI regulation freeze. Duh. Do you know? I'm thinking about doing an AI show tomorrow to talk about the impact of AI across several different industries, things like that. And just speaking about AI. My company does a lot of work in AI. From setting up our nodes to a whole bunch of stuff, private services, private architectures, all that kind of stuff. And I think people need to know about it because from a why you need to do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately from a GMB3 perspective, the talk I would have is one to light a fire under your tushy. So I don't know if my mother's watching yet, so that's the idea. Universal SHIB. Thank you for that, Rick. Because I was like, what is the U for? Because I was thinking when maybe W SHIB was taken for wrapped SHIB, but yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I'm not going into that. So I'm thinking about doing that because it's becoming such a big deal for many, 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 many reasons. Mostly because of jobs. What used to be entry level is no more. So I'm thinking about doing that. Hey, pause. Thank you for letting me know. I am going to do that show tomorrow. I just have to figure out what time I'm going to be able to do it. It's either going to be 1 or 4. Depends on what I'm doing around the house. But there's a lot to discuss there. And the reason why it's a big deal is, when you have a company like Anthropic saying, no, we don't want that. It's because it would enable people that are using AI now to get completely, you think Pandora's box is open now? Imagine Pandora having a sister 50 times more insane than you would have AI. Imagine 10 years. 10 years. Do you know what you'd be able to do? Do you know what you could do with crypto, with AI now? Let alone what you could do 10 years from now. Yeah, nah. Yeah, I'm against that as well. That's insane. And that has a more than beyond economic impact. So yeah, I think you know what? I'm not even gonna say I think I'm gonna do that show. I'm gonna do the show tomorrow, and it'll be dedicated to AI. So if you're interested, just tune in. I'm pretty sure it'll probably be earlier in the day. I'll give at least 1 hour's time. I'll set it up for at least 1 hour beforehand, so that people have time to see if they can make it. If not, you can catch the rerun. But I think that's going to be a big deal, because it's nuts. It's nuts what they're thinking about. The ECB cut rates to 2% as Bitcoin rose, right? It rose and then dropped, plummeted. And we can get into why it plummeted in a minute. Neville, I need you to answer, the community question. I don't address anybody that has not answered the question, which is, have you invested in yourself today? So I need that question answered. What else is there? Coinbase's data breach. Coinbase's data breach, and Max Silas, I have not forgotten about that topic. I will be revisiting that topic in a few minutes. But just from a economic perspective, from an economic impact perspective is what I should say. The ECB lowering the rates, which is what pushed commentary about Powell out there. You have to remember that's all they can do. Right? That's the only lever that they can pull. Powell has more levers than they do. He's got more things that he can work with than they do. It's not an apples to apples comparison when you say, oh, well, look, they did it. Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same. And I think people don't understand that. And I think they need to go understand that. Not 100%, Captain Banana. A pause. We'll get into that tomorrow. But I think that we definitely need to have that conversation. It's a very big deal. It's a very, very big deal. I asked a question of one of my friends about her son, and she was like, "It's absolutely off the table. Real animators, because he's a designer. He's like stupid talented. Like this kid, wow." And he's absolutely against AI. I can respect that. I can absolutely respect that. It's not something that he wants to put in his repertoire. He feels that it's dirty, down, and disgusting. And we can get into that tomorrow, in terms of that perspective. And then we'll get into other perspectives. So Bitcoin dropping as low as, what was it? 100,900 today. If it would have gone down to the 90s, I'd have been in. I'm still a little bit in at this number because I know what the upside could be. What's 10% up right now? 10% up right now is still not the high. I'm down with that. Thank you, Neville. I'll get to your question in a second because I'm almost done with news, and then we'll go back to your question. Coinbase's data breach has bled over into the real world with physical mail. So it's more than what they thought. That's not cute. To the exposed, only almost 70,000 users. Let me read it. Users to offline phishing scams. They did that with offline phishing scams via fraudulent mail, not email, mail, physical mail. With the company offering credit monitoring and a $20 million reward for attacker info. That's what I told you before. You had a problem ages ago. It's been affecting people. And now is when you want to offer credit monitoring. Like, what the hell is that supposed to do? Like, what? Whatever. 'Cause you see what I mean? So by the time they actually told people what happened, that 6-7 months of nothingness, their credit could have already been hit, and they're trying to figure out why, what happened, and this was it. Just saying. And I'll tell you something. With every day that passes, it becomes harder and harder to prove how the attack happened. If you become a victim, it's going to be harder and harder to prove that you got damaged specifically because of this. How many hacks happened between October 2024 and now? A lot. A lot. So your credit could have been hit because of the 184 million password, email address, blah, blah, blah hack that happened. Database just left wide open on the internet. Come get me. Yeah. So how do you prove that your credit was damaged by this incident versus that incident? So nobody's saying it, but that's That I'm going to say it could be one of the reasons why companies wait so long to tell you, oh, well, we had to make sure that, it was locked down, blah, 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 fangul. That's what that is. So yeah, you're going to offer me credit monitoring 7 months after the fact? You should be giving me a check. You should be giving me a check for what has happened or may happen. You can't, what's funny is you can't change your social security number, but you can change everything else. Once your social security number is out there, it's done. It's always going to be out there. Let that wash in. Let that marinate, if you will. Yeah, it's no joke. This is why I tell people, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. You must increase your knowledge about anything and everything that can affect your bag, whether it be learning how to get a new job, learning how to do a better job, learning a new skill, learning how to invest. Isn't that a skill? Just saying, people. Just saying. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to shake people awake. It's a serious thing. It is a serious thing. Just saying. Just putting that out there for you. In case you're not following along, just trying to put that out there for you, because unlike others, I actually give a damn. And you'll say, why do you give a damn? Oh, I don't know. Maybe if we have more people that can put food on their own tables, the less the rest of us have to pay. Self-serving interest right there, right? But other than that, I don't want to see people starve. I don't want to see people out of work. I don't want to see people lost in a daze. Because that's what happens when you're out of work for a long time. You become lost. We don't need that. It's even worse if you're able-bodied, skilled, and still can't find a job to put food on the table. Been there, done that. It's serious. Just saying. Just saying. Now, this last one goes along with that. Hackers for Hire exploited DeFi vulnerabilities, causing $302 million in losses in May. Not the first few months of the year, not the first quarter of this year. In May, Hackers for Hire have caused $302 million in losses. That includes that $225 million hack of CEDAS protocol. Hackers for Hire. Imagine. Now, Neville's question. Listen to you, Captain Banana. I told you I was going to get back to Neville's question. What do you think about Riot selling their stake in BitFs? I don't have any idea what BitFs is, so I have no opinion. What's BitFs? If you tell me what BitFs is, I can compare that to what I think Riot's business model is, and I can try to make sense of it. But I have no idea what. Oh, Bitfarms. I've got no really good answer for that, other than maybe they're thinking it didn't work out. They thought they were going to be able to expand. That's a problem. It's because it didn't work out. And 9 times out of 10, when something doesn't work out, it's executive attitude. Technically speaking, everything should have been fine. So it either didn't work out and they had a pullback clause. We think the market's going to change and we've decided that we don't want to do this deal anymore. Or executive attitude. Those are your 2 reasons. We do mergers and acquisitions a lot too. Those are primarily your 2 reasons. Everything else is a distant whatever. Those are your primary reasons. market fluctuation, market change, a major market change. I don't know. Uncertainties. That could do it. Although how much are they affected by tariffs other than maybe you can't get the equipment where Bitfarms is, that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff goes into it. A lot more than what people think. But that's a good question. Hey, I have to bounce. What? Rick Ritchie. You have a screen sharing event. That's what's up, man. Keep doing what you're doing. All right. Have a good one, bud. Learn something. Come back and teach the rest of us. Now, let's go back to Max Salas. Max Salas asked a question today, and it was worded in such a way that it seemed very political, which is why I removed it. Why did the market take a dip? Whose fault was it? One or the other? It's not a one or the other. It's not a one or the other. It's a both of them. And the reason why it's a both of them is because now you're actually hearing about the dirty laundry. You're actually seeing the dirty laundry. And then people are coupling that with how they're being affected right now by tariffs, which are taxes collected by our government. And it's starting to look bad. And there are a lot of other people sitting out there just scratching their head and saying, we tried to tell you. So it's not one or the other. It's both. And it's having an economic impact like no other. So right now, people are trying to deal with finding out that their state representatives voted for something and never read it, which means they didn't have the best interest of their people in mind. They just voted along party lines instead of actually reading the bill. If you read the bill, you'd actually see, holy moly, there's something in there that says, let AI run rampant for 10 years. Saying it would benefit the economy. We'll get into that tomorrow. But that's a lot of stuff that's going on right now. Right? And that's why I'm looking at it. And so the market's reacting to all of this uncertainty that's going on right now. Michael McCaskill, I wish it was good enough to be called nuts. Oh, there's a coyote outside. Yeah, that's a coyote. Sometimes you can't tell the difference between a coyote and a fox. Some of these foxes over here are pretty big. Pretty too. I wish it was just nuts. But what's nuts is you have people that literally just wanted to vote along party lines, wound up voting against their best interests, and now they're feeling the economic impact for how they voted. At all levels. And so now you're hearing about the dirty laundry, and now people are sitting back and going, holy moly, some of this information is indisputable. It's coming from the inside. From an economic perspective, yeah, people are worried, they're panicked, and they're yanking their money. So markets go down, even though we had Circle actually kill it today. Circle killed it today. I'm not expecting this to get cleaned up anytime soon. Oh yeah, by the way, here's something else to think about. Oh, this is going to hurt your head. Maybe not, because most of you are smarter than I am. So, If you're China and you're sitting back and you're watching this utter implosion, are you going to be inclined to do anything? Why? You could have a legit fear that this guy's going to get kicked out of office. You have a legit fear. Not even fear, maybe a hope, but you have a reason to question. So that dampens ideas for tariffs going away anytime soon. Because it's been proven that the new regime will make decisions based on the mood he's in, not because he's thought about it. So there are a lot of things that we need to contemplate. There are a lot of things that we need to think about hard. Everybody around the world is stopping to look at this and think about it. Another Red Star, you just showed up. You take you a little behind in the corner because that cracked me up. Had to look twice because I was expecting Hutanik to do something like that. When I think about what Doge had access to, unbridled access to, what kind of data, what kind of records did he have access to? It's been rumored that they walked out with data. What data? Whose data? Our data. We own it. It's us, the citizens of the United States of America. That's our data. Who'd you give access to? Why? What were you thinking? Could it have been classified data? Could have been top secret data. Don't know. We honestly don't know to what level Doge had access to government data. And with all these allegations flying around, it's bringing uncertainty. And actually right now, you can't even use the word uncertainty anymore. With regard to tariffs, uncertainty. With regard to everything else, chaos. Financial chaos. Good night, Hutanik. Financial chaos. I'm positioned to dump. I'm positioned to buy. I'm ready to rock either way it goes. That's my fear. That's my fear right now. Now, Tether. This statement by Tether has legs. Tether attacked Circle saying they're not actually viable as a business. The CEO came out and said they don't make money. Well, now it'll be public, won't it? All of that information will be public because they have to file publicly. So now we'll find out. We'll find out real fast how much money they make. We kind of know how much money. So real quick, Red Star, it's about knowing where your money is, knowing your entries and exits, so you can pull a trigger either way real fast. I positioned all my assets so I could do either or and be happy. I can do either or and be happy. For right now, the only thing I'm continuing is my DCA strategy, right? DCA, DCA, DCA. If we own our data, we should be allowed to sell it. You can, except you selling it as an individual means nothing. Your data means nothing by itself. It's only in the aggregate. You'd have to get at least a few 100,000 people to make it worthwhile. And even then, it's not really worth as much as you think. It's what you can do with all that data that makes it worth it. But we should be able to determine whether you're allowed to sell my data. But in this case, it wasn't sold, it was given away. But with regard to Tether and Circle, shots fired. Because Tether can demonstrate that they make money. Tether's like, oh, we got more money a little bit. They're clocking like about $1 billion a month. They're clocking about $1 billion a month. Imagine. And they're saying Circle doesn't make money. Really? Maybe they don't. Maybe Circle's long-term plan is other stuff, and maybe right now they're not making money because it's a calculated risk. But Tether's going after their viability. They just raised, I think, $1.1 billion off this IPO. So I think now they've got that cash infusion. They might be able to last a little bit longer, because how much does it really take to run that kind of an operation? So does this cash infusion give you enough money to actually make money? Or does it add another layer of overhead because of all the reporting and everybody that you have to have on staff to do that reporting, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And let's not forget the audits that you have to go through and all that other good stuff. You've really got to step up to be publicly traded. Like, seriously, step up to be publicly traded. But we'll find out with their first, 10K, 10Q, whatever it is that they have to file. Their first quarterly results. That's what is, I think it's a 10Q, and then K1 comes out once a year, something like that. So yeah, you're going to have a lot come out of this. A lot. So we had 9 votes, 22% said yes, they agree with Tether. Nobody said no. 56% said what happened, and other is 22%. I don't know what the other is because nobody said anything. But I think it's a very big deal that Tether is saying they don't make money. That's a big statement to make. That's shots fired. So I'm wondering if Circle's going to come out with a statement, or if they're just going to let it go and not address it. Which could either be seen as taking the high road, or what they're saying must be true. I don't know. We'll have to see how that actually plays out. But that, to me, was a very interesting statement. A very, very interesting statement, because I believe it is the second most used stablecoin in the world. I mean, they've got like something like 24% of the market, or if the DeFi market or something like that. Okay, 24%. How much does Tether have? At least twice that, right? At least twice that. And that's, taking a modest approach to their numbers. Only thinking that, well, there are other, stable coins out there, blah, blah, blah. But that's a really big statement. I'm going to be interested to find out. I was going to rush to get into Circle. I probably would have gotten in. I probably could have gotten in $40-50, maybe $50, because so it was set at 31. Before it had even come out, it was up to 45. Yeah. So your next way to get in was going to be 50, but there's a whole bunch of people in front of you that would get it. But let's just imagine I was able to get in at 50. You can make a little bit of money. There is a lot of that, Steve, but I think that Tether's making money. Like I said, their revenue, as reported, comes out to be about $1 billion a month. I think that's what they're saying their profit is. So even if you said their profit at the end of the day is $500 million a month, Sorry. That's still $6 billion a year. Somehow I think it's more than that, but imagine. Imagine. Just like what? So yeah, I look at this and I just go, there could be some bones to that. There could, because Circle doesn't have a big market. They really don't. And here's the other part. As much money as Circle makes, the bulk of that money goes to Coinbase, in case we've forgotten. So Circle itself might not actually make any money. It's highly possible. It's highly possible they needed to go IPO. They needed the cash infusion. But imagine, you could have walked away with $5 billion without having to jump through hoops, government hoops and stuff. So that's a lot. That's a hell of a lot. So yeah, I'm thinking about that and I'm just kind of like, yeah, you know, there could be some legs to what Tether said. So I will be digging in later tonight, tomorrow morning, for like over the weekend. I'll be digging in to see if there's anything else that comes out about it. Anything. Just saying. Because that's not small. That is not small at all. All right, everybody, I'm going to call it a night. This is Eddie J on crypto for growmindbag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, smash the likes. Tell your friends about this community. It's a completely different kind of community. Oh, excuse me. I almost forgot to tell you tonight's number. 9,877. Thank you, Neville. 9,877 articles. Text, video, 9,877 articles as of tonight. We're slated to hit 10,000, I think, technically a week from Tuesday. I think it's highly possible we could make that number. I think we can make that number by Friday. I use low numbers to get there. I use 10 articles a day to get there. We average 20 per day. We could get there real fast. So I'm thinking Friday, to be comfortable, could be the day that we hit 10,000. Yeah. Imagine 10,000 articles in 3 years. And remember, we didn't have the site for 3 years. I just started shooting videos 3 years and a few months ago. We didn't start having articles. We didn't start having the website, building out the social media platform. We didn't start that for months after that. So imagine. It's going to be insane. It's going to be crazy. We've got more coming. We've got so much more coming in a very short period of time. We overcame a lot of problems, and it's going to be there. Isn't Circle supposed to be partnered with XRP? No. Real quick. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And as always, thank you so much for your trust. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. I'm willing to admit when somebody else has a better idea. And you know what's best about this community? All of you do the same thing. That's how we all learn. And I thank you for that. Everybody have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Crypto Daily. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.